one. Coming back towards our interesting topic, that is the reflection of light. This is our third session. We have learned many of the concepts, and today we are going to learn some new concepts on the basis of the previous one. So first we are going to see how images are formed by a concave mirror. Then we are going to have a look by seeing how images are formed by convex mirror. Then we are going to study the important topic, which is divergence and convergence, which helps us to identify whether a mirror is a concave mirror or a convex mirror. So let's start. This is the very important hierarchy, which I am repeating in my every session so that you people will understand where are we, what we are learning. So types of mirror, basically mirrors are divided into two types. First one is the plane mirror, second one is the spherical mirror. The plane mirrors are the mirrors which we use in our home every day. Okay, so you can see a person standing in front of a mirror and an exact image of that person is obtained in the mirror. The second type is the spherical mirrors, the mirrors which are curved. They are not plane mirrors, they are curved mirrors. You can see the shaded portion of the curves. For concave mirror, the reflective surface is inside the curve, whereas for convex mirror, the reflective surface is outside the curved surface. Please see this diagram very carefully. The shaded region explains us which type of mirror it is, concave or convex. Now, by mere seeing these mirrors, you should be able to visualize all the examples of these mirrors. Okay. Then these are the terms which are required today also to learn the image formation in concave and convex mirrors. So we are going to see these terms once again. These are the terms related to spherical mirrors. Okay, so the first term is pole. The pole is the center of the mirror. You can see the capital letter P written in the diagram. So the P pole of the mirror is the center of the mirror surface and it is named as pole, and it is always specified by the capital letter P. If you remember our last session, we have related this diagram to a circle. Okay, so that you people will remember these terms very properly. Center of curvature, the center of the sphere of which the mirror is a part, is called the center of curvature of the mirror. Capital C is the letter of notation. It is denoted by capital C. Okay, you can find the capital C is the center of the sphere. C is the center of the curvature of the mirror. By this, we will proceed towards our third term, radius of curvature of the mirror. It is same as the radius of the circle, and you can find that CP and CA is the radius of this circle. But as we are studying mirrors, we will term this as radius of curvature. The radius of a sphere of which the mirror is a part is called the radius of curvature of the mirror. The length CP and CA in the figure is the radius of curvature of the mirror. Both the rays are denoted by the name radius of curvature. On the top, you can see it. This is the radius of curvature, CA and CP. Each and every term is required to study how we obtain the images in a concave mirror as well as in a convex mirror. So pay attention, try to specify the letters denoted in the diagram, try to relate them and remember them, what are the names and how are they specified. Second one, the fourth term is the principal axis, the straight line passing through the pole and the center of curvature of the mirror. Now you can see P, pole, is the center of the mirror and C is the center of curvature. Okay. Now a straight line is passing through both these points and that line is called as principal axis. So you can notice that PM is the principal axis of the mirror. I'm giving you few seconds for each slide so that you will identify it where the straight line lies. Okay, we will go towards our next term, which is principal focus. Incident rays which are parallel to the principal axis of concave mirror after reflection from the mirror meet at a particular point in front of the mirror on the principal axis, and this point F is called as principal focus of the concave mirror. This we are going to see what happens in concave and convex mirror in our today's diagrams. So just go through the lines and try to find out the words where they are written in the diagram. In a case of convex mirror, incident ray parallel to the principal focus after reflection appear to come back from a particular point behind the mirror lying along the principal axis, and this point is called principal focus of the convex lens. So this particular point is different for concave mirror and convex mirror. The last thing is the focal length. The distance f between the pole and the principal focus of the mirror is called the focal length. The distance is half of the radius of the curvature of the mirror. Now the radius of curvature is CP, okay, and its half is f, the focal length. The half of the radius will always be its focal length. So while drawing mirrors with the help of your compass or your rounder, you are going to place your steel end at point C. Okay. Now, while drawing these diagrams, I would suggest you all first to draw the principal axis, mark the point C, F and P, mark point C at 0 on your centimeter scale. If you place F at 3 centimeter, place P at 6 centimeter. Okay, so the distance between C, F and FP should be the same. So that whenever you will draw the images for concave and convex mirrors, you will get the exact image as per the scientific tables which are given to us while studying this chapter. I'll repeat once again, while drawing these mirrors, spherical mirrors for concave or convex, first you are going to draw principal axis. Okay, place C, that is center of curvature, at 0 centimeter. After C, you place the point F. If you place F at 3 centimeter, place the point P, that is pole of the mirror, at 6 centimeter. Now with the distance of CP, that is your steel end on point C, and your pencil end on point P, try to draw the curve, okay, which will be your mirror. By following all these rules and specifications, you will get the exact image diagram as per our scientific tables, which we are going to study further. Okay, now by using these three rules, we are going to draw our diagrams for concave and convex mirrors. So the first rule is, if an incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, then the reflected ray passes through the principal focus. While studying a ray diagram, again we are going to find the names for the terms which we have discussed before. Okay, you can see capital C, capital F and P written in the diagram. Okay, so C stands for center of curvature, F stands for focus and P stands for pole. Okay, so what is given? If an incident ray is parallel, you can see the array incident ray, a ray which is having arrow towards the mirror is called as incident ray. You can see that this incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. This means that the incident ray and the reflected ray never meet each other. They are at specified distance from each other. Okay, so when the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, the reflected ray, a ray which is having an arrow from the mirror, okay, it is outwards, passes through the principal focus. You can see that the reflected ray is passing through the point capital F, that is the principal focus. Go through these lines once again. If an incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, then the reflected ray passes through the principal focus. Now here you can see that the description or the rule for this diagram is specified all in terms related to the spherical mirrors, which we have studied earlier. So you should have a clear vision of all these terms. Then and then you will understand all these ray diagrams. We will go towards our next rule, which is rule 2. If an incident ray passes through the principal focus of the mirror, the reflected ray is parallel to the principal axis. Okay, now again coming towards the diagram, you can see CFP. C stands for center of curvature, F stands for principal focus, and P stands for pole of the mirror. Now here also in the diagram you can see that the distance between CF is same as that of FP. Okay, so whenever these rules are asked, or if you are drawing a spherical mirror, see to it that the distance between CF and FP is same. So now from where is the incident ray passing? The incident ray is passing from the principal focus, that is from the point F. You can see the ray which is having an arrow headed towards the mirror. When it falls on the mirror from the principal focus, it gets reflected back. You can see the reflected ray which is having arrow outwards from the mirror. Okay, and you can see the property of the reflected ray, that the reflected ray is parallel to the principal axis. What is the principal axis? A straight line passing through the center of curvature and the pole is called as principal axis. Rule 1 and rule 2 are vice versa of each other. These two rules we are going to use many times while drawing the concave mirrors. This is rule 3, a last rule. Okay. Now, by mere seeing the diagram, you can see that the incident ray and reflected ray both are on a same line. They are one and the same. If an incident ray passes through the center of curvature of the mirror, the reflected ray traces the same path again. Now you can see the incident ray, a ray which is having an arrow headed towards the mirror, and again you can see the reflected ray on the same path with the arrow headed from the mirror. Okay, when does this thing happens? When the incident ray passes through the center of curvature. Now by seeing these three rules, we have understood that we are always seeing the incident ray first, and then we are seeing then we are observing or understanding what happens to the reflected ray. So these were the three important rules for drawing a ray diagram. Now we are going to see how the images are obtained in a concave mirror. So you can see a spherical mirror. The mirror named as MN is a spherical mirror. Now you can see as the incident ray is falling inside the curve. Okay, the reflective surface is inside the curve. Inner part of the mirror is reflecting. So this mirror is a concave mirror. Okay. Again, you have to find the capital letters C, F, P written in the diagram. C stands for center of curvature, F for principal focus, and P as the pole of the mirror. Now, here we are going to see where we have to place our object and how we are getting the image or the nature of the image which we are getting. Now here you can see that the object is placed between C and F, that is center of curvature and focus. That is center of curvature and focus. The object is placed between center of curvature and focus. What is the name of the object? The object is named as AB. Okay, the object is named as AB. Then you can see some incident rays falling on the mirror. One incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. Okay. Now you better remember what is principal axis. Principal axis is the straight line passing through the center of curvature and pole of the mirror. Okay. Now see, as we have studied these three rules, what we have studied, that if a ray is parallel to the principal axis, and if an incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, the reflected ray passes through the principal focus of the spherical mirror. You can see the rule is followed. AS is parallel to the principal axis. AS is the incident ray which is parallel to the principal axis, and you are getting a reflected ray which is passing through the principal focus of the mirror. So how you have to remember these things? First, you have to remember the three rules, understand those three rules, draw the diagrams for them, and then you can understand all these images. Okay, so we have used one of the rule from that. Then the second ray, you can see the second incident ray. Okay, you can see AQ is the incident ray, which is having a arrow headed towards the mirror. You can see the reflected ray, which is QR. Now this QR, you can find it is parallel to the principal axis. We are using rule 2 in this scenario. If an incident ray passing through the principal focus of the mirror, the reflected ray is parallel to the principal axis. I hope you people are finding it easy. to memorize, to understand. No need of memorization. As you understand those two rules, three rules, you can easily formulate this diagram. Okay, now you can see that these two reflected rays, they intersect each other at a point. Okay, now that point of intersection we have at A dash. Okay, now the image is inverted. You can see that AB is having arrow headed upwards while A dash B dash is having arrow headed downwards. Now the object is AB and the image obtained is A dash B dash. I have explained this diagram. Now just try to memorize it for a second. Just try to see it, understand it for a second, and then we will go towards our theoretical description with which we have to write in scientific words in our exams. Again, I'll explain it in short by reading these lines. The incident ray AQ starting from A and going through the focus F, starting from A going to the focus F, becomes parallel to the principal axis after reflection and returns along QR. Okay, AQ returns along QR. The inside ray AS parallel to the axis after reflection passes through the focus F and returns along the path ST. Returns along the path ST. It cuts the reflected ray QR at the point A dash. Thus the image of A is formed at A dash. You can see the image of A is formed at A dash. And the image of B is formed at B dash. The point B is situated on the principal axis, and so its image will also be on the axis and will be directly above A dash. Thus the image of B is at B dash. The images of points between A dash and B dash will be formed between the points A dash and B dash. Thus the image of object AB is A dash B dash. Okay, so what is the nature of the image? This image is larger. Okay, you can see the size of AB. The size of A dash B dash is increased according to AB if we compare it with AB, and is inverted. Yes, you can see the arrows. AB is having arrows headed upwards and A dash B dash is having an arrow headed downwards. So it is inverted. As the reflected rays actually cross each other, now this is very important. You can see the reflected rays. First one is ST and QR. Both are intersecting each other. The image is real image. In plane mirrors, we are not getting real image. We are getting virtual image. When we extend those two incident rays behind the mirror, then we get the image. But here in concave mirrors, as the two reflected rays are intersecting each other, we get real image. And this image can be obtained on a screen. Now moving towards our next easy diagram of concave mirrors. Now in short, you must get the habit of observing the diagram very carefully, because this habit helps you a lot in writing the description as well as understanding the diagram. Okay, while drawing the diagram, first we are going to draw principal axis. We are going to place the points C, F, P, and then we are going to draw the spherical curved mirror. As you can see in the diagram, the position of the object is between focus and pole, that is between capital F and P. And position of the image is behind the mirror. Where we are getting the image, we are getting it behind the mirror. Which one are the incident rays? The rays which are having arrow towards the mirror are called as incident rays. So AS and AQ are the incident rays. Now the reflected rays are AC and QF. Why? Because these are having arrows outwards from the mirror. Now, do these reflected rays actually meet? Do they cross each other? You can see if you extend these two lines, they will never meet on the side of the object. But if you extend it, we have drawn the dotted lines and we have extended it behind the mirror. Okay, there you are getting a cross point or an intersection point of these two reflected rays. And we are getting our image formation behind the mirror. Okay, now what is the nature of the image? You can see the arrow of the image and as well as the object, both are upwards. Okay, they are not changed, they are upwards. So the image is erect. So the image is erect. And as the reflected rays are not actually intersecting each other, they are intersecting when we are extending it behind the mirrors, the image is virtual. The image is virtual. The object is small and the image is larger than the object. Okay, it can be identified that the ratio is more of the object and the image. So we are getting size of the image is magnified. So we are getting a magnified image of the object. Again, we will go through these lines. Object AB is placed between the pole and the focus of the mirror. The incident ray AQ is parallel to the principal axis and the incident ray AS is in the direction joining A with the center of curvature. Thus, image is behind the mirror, erect and larger than the object, as the reflected ray do not actually meet but appear to come together behind the mirror. The image is virtual image. I hope you understand the difference between the real image and the virtual image. Now, this is our third diagram. We are just changing the position of the object and we are seeing where we are getting the image. So here the position of the object is at the center of curvature. AB is placed at capital C. C, F and P are the center of curvature, principal focus and pole of the mirror respectively. So where is the position of the image? The position of the image is at the center of curvature itself. Now while seeing nature of image, you can see the arrow. AB is having arrow headed upwards while A dash B dash is having arrow headed downwards. So it is inverted. Okay. Now as the reflected rays which are drawn with a pink color, they both meet or they cross each other. They have a point of intersection. So the images, the formation of the image is real. AB and A dash B dash, they are having same length. Okay, if you measure the height, that is length. So they are having the same length. So size of the image is same as the object. This diagram is not specified in your textbook. Just tables are given to understand the three things, that is position of the object, position of the image, nature of image, and size of image. So if you want, you can observe the image very properly in this diagram. Okay, moving ahead. Again, the common names CFP are there. Center of curvature, principal focus, pole of the mirror. Now you have placed the object behind the center of curvature. That is beyond the center of curvature. Before C, that is beyond the center of curvature. Again, we are having incident rays and reflected rays. You can see that the first incident ray is parallel to the principal axis and the reflected ray is passing through the focus, principal focus. The incident ray itself is intersecting the reflected ray, and wherever the rays are intersecting, we get the point of intersection and we place the image on it. Now, as you can see, B is on principal axis, so B dash will be on the principal axis and A dash will be at the point of intersection. So the position of the image is between C and F, that is between the center of curvature and focus. As the rays are intersecting and we are drawing the image over there, the image is real image, and observe the arrows. The object is having arrow headed upwards and the image is having arrow headed downwards. So the image is inverted and real. Size of the image, it is diminished, that is smaller than the object. Now here you can see it is slightly smaller than the object. All these diagrams will be drawn scientifically when the center of curvature, principal focus, and pole of the mirror are equidistant from each other. Many students keep on drawing these diagrams, but they don't get all these scientific results as per the incident ray. They can't show the incident ray parallel and then the focus on the reflected ray. So please follow these rules. Place center of curvature, focus, and pole of the mirror equidistant from each other. Now this is the table formulation of all the things which we have learned from these ray diagrams. I have discussed 4 diagrams with you. Now you have to find which 2 diagrams are not discussed. Try to draw the ray diagrams and find their images. Where do they fall? So first is the position of object, then is the position of the image, Third is the nature of the image, and fourth is the size of the image. Between pole and focus, position of the images behind the mirror. Now, when you see erect, nature of the image is erect, both will have arrows headed upwards. Virtual, the rays are not meeting each other, the reflected ray. Okay, so when they are extended, they meet, so the nature of the image is virtual. Size of the image is magnified. Position of the image when placed at the focus, position of the object when placed at focus, position of the image is at infinity. Okay, if it is at infinity, you can't find the image of the object. Nature of the image is inverted, real. Size of the image is very large. Between focus and center of curvature, when the object is placed between focus and center of curvature, the position of the image, you will get the image at beyond the center of the curvature. Nature of the image is inverted, real, same as the object. The fifth case is when you place the object beyond the center of curvature, you get the image at between the center of curvature and focus. Nature of the image is inverted, real, and size of the image is diminished. The sixth and the last case for studying concave mirrors is when you place the object at a very large, infinite distance. Okay, infinite distance. You get the position of the image at focus. Nature of the image is inverted, real, and size of the image is point image. So from this all table formulation, you can see that when you go towards the, when you walk from the center of curvature towards the mirror, but you are between the center of curvature and focus, you get an magnified image. Okay, but you, when you come behind the center of curvature, before C, okay, you will get small images. The last one, at a very large distance, very large, that is infinite distance, you get the image at focus, capital F. At capital F, you will get the image, and the size of the image will be point image. Now, these things are bit difficult to visualize, as the teacher says. Okay, you will, you might be not able to visualize the things within a click, but when you go through these diagrams, try to figure out where is the object, how the image is formed, what is the kind of image, what is the nature of the image, and the size of the image. If you study these things, you will also be able to understand and visualize the images, how they will, how they get formed. So as practice makes common man perfect, keep on practicing these diagrams so that you will be able to formulate these tables. Then the next interesting topic is divergence and convergence of light. Now, this is a small activity. This activity is small, simple, and easy enough to understand the concept of divergence and convergence. Take 5 sticks from a matchbox. Okay. First diagram is of divergence, second is of convergence. You can see 5 sticks are taken, matchsticks. Arrange them so that their head come together at a point. Okay, and in the second diagram, all the heads of the sticks are at one point. The red color is the head of those sticks. In this arrangement, the heads of the matchsticks are said to have converged. Okay, when they come at one point, they are said to follow the rule of convergence of light. Okay, now vice versa, when they are spread, it will be called as divergence. Still, we will go through the point B. Now arrange the sticks so that their uncoated ends are together. You can see that their uncoated ends, yellowish uncoated ends, are together at a point, and the head are separate apart, are spread apart. You can see the 5 heads which are spread apart. Now in this arrangement, the heads are diverging from the point. This will help you to understand the concept of convergence and divergence. This is just a small activity which is going to help you to understand that when all the rays come at one point, okay, they follow convergence, and when they are spread, they follow divergence. So coming back towards our scientific topic for spherical mirrors, how light rays follows divergence and convergence in our mirrors. Okay, now in first diagram, you can see the concave mirror. Now why it is concave? Because you can see all the incident rays are falling inside the curved path, inside the curved surface of the mirror. So it is called as concave mirror. And the pink lines are the lines of reflection. Now you can memorize the rule. When an incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, the reflected ray passes through the principal focus. I am revising these rules again and again so that you people will understand the importance of these 3 rules, and all the images of concave, convex mirrors which we are studying now are based only on these 3 rules. No magic, no strategy, just follow these rules and get all your diagrams done. So these blue lines, you can see 3 blue lines are above the principal axis and 3 blue lines are below the principal axis. All these lines are parallel to the principal axis. Okay, so the reflection of all these lines passes through the principal focus F. Now you can see if they are coming towards at a single point, what they are doing, they are following convergence. Okay, because they are meeting at a single point. Whereas in the diagram below, you can see the mirror is convex mirror. Now, how you can identify that the given mirror is convex mirror? You can see that the incident rays are falling on the outer surface of the mirror. The tilted lines are shown inside the mirror, whereas the incident rays, the arrow headed on the rays, are towards the mirror. They are falling on the mirror, okay, on the outer part of the mirror. So it is a convex mirror. Again, you can see that all the incident rays are parallel to the principal axis. So the reflected ray will always pass through the principal focus. They are meeting at principal focus, and again they are diverging. Okay, they are spread. Each reflected ray is spread. They are not headed towards a single point, but they are spread in the atmosphere, in the environment. So they are following the phenomena of divergence. You can see in the concave mirror, all the reflected rays, they are having arrow headed towards F. Whereas in the convex mirror, the arrows of the reflected rays are spread in the atmosphere. Okay, they are not towards a single point. So we will go through the lines. The image produced by a plane mirror is a virtual image. The image is produced at a point from which the reflected light ray appears to diverge. This image cannot be obtained on a screen. Yes, as the image is virtual image, it cannot be obtained on a screen as the rays do not actually meet there. When light rays collect at a point after reflection from a spherical mirror, they are said to converge there. Okay, you can see at a point F, all the reflected rays are meeting together. So we can say that they converge at F. Where we want to bring light rays together at a point, a converging light beam is used. Doctors use such a beam to converge light on a tooth, ear, nose, etc. Equipment using solar energy also use converging light. Okay, so ample examples of convergence are given over here. So concave mirrors are used over here. Doctors use such beam of light. Equipments of solar energy also used such phenomenons, which when light rays starting from a point spread out after reflection by a spherical mirror, light is said to have diverged. When we want light rays to spread out from the source, a divergent beam is used. As for example, in street lamps. Okay, a street lamp glows and the light is spread in the atmosphere. A tube light is on, it glows inside the room and it spreads light inside the room. So wherever the light is spread, the phenomenon of divergence is used over there. So this is just an example to explain convergence and divergence again. Spherical mirrors, a curved mirror formed by a part of hollow glass sphere with a reflecting surface. These are two types of mirrors, concave and convex. A concave mirror is a curved mirror with a reflecting surface on the hollow side. Okay, inside the mirror, at the inner surface, these rays lie. While in convex mirror, you can see that the outer part of the convex mirror is used. The reflecting surface is the outer part. In concave mirror, all the reflecting rays are meeting at a point F. They follow the phenomenon of convergence. While in convex mirror, they are reflecting outside and they follow divergence. We are towards the end of our today's session. How will you find out if a mirror is a concave or convex mirror? The special mirror which we used for shaving is a concave mirror. When held close to the face, it gives vertical and larger image of the face. Yes, when you are holding it towards the face, closer towards your face, it means that you are traveling from center of curvature to the focal length. Okay, the image is placed between it. Or when you try to take it more closer, what happens? You get a large image. If the mirror is taken farther away from your face, the image gets smaller and smaller. Yes, when you take it far away, that is you are beyond the center of curvature. So you will get a point image over there. The mirrors used in cars and motorcycles are convex mirrors. Yes, we have discussed this in our first session itself, that the cars and motorcycles, their side mirrors are convex mirrors. In these mirrors, the image of the face is erect and smaller, and it remains erect but becomes smaller and smaller when the mirror is taken away from the face. As a result, we can see the images of the surrounding also in the mirror. Okay, so a driver is able to see all the traffic which is behind his vehicle. Thus, we can determine the nature of the mirror by studying the images produced by them. When the light coming from an object enters an eye, we can see the object, because while passing through the lenses in our eyes, the rays converge and the image of the object forms on the retina of our eye. This image formed by the light rays actually converging at a point is a real image. A real image can be obtained on a screen. Now they have given an example of our eyes also, why we are able to see When a person fixes lenses in his eyes, what happens? The rays converge and the image is formed on the retina. Those who wear specs, they can also observe this, as well as those who have lenses, they can observe this. Okay, so here we are. Hopefully, you people have enjoyed it as well as understood all those concepts which I have taught today. Do practice it today itself so that you will get better understanding of these things. Practice these diagrams to master these things. Thank you and have a nice day.